Hi. It's still September 24th? 25th. Just kidding. It's the 25th. I just came back from Costco and just really reflecting on still reflecting on the dreams that I've had about college, right? The different colleges and about my clients, specifically the college students that I'm working with. And then the training that I provided last night, or presentation really, on suicide and in the school settings, and you know, for these 100 plus individuals in Mexico, and just reflecting, just thinking, right? Reflecting on the conversations, really, because that's what I do. Like, I reflect on the conversations, and I'm trying to find a pattern, right? And there was this theme, this pattern that I realized, and I don't know if I talked about it, and that's why I wanted to record, just in case I didn't talk about it. And if I did, it's good because it needs to be heard again. So in my talk yesterday about suicide, you know, the big piece of it, right, is people wanting to know, how can we prevent it? What do we do in the middle of it, right? Because this is a group of people in Chiapas and Mexico, and they don't have the same access, right, to the systems, right, in their own government as we do here. And so I was mindful of that as I'm talking and sharing and letting them know I'm aware that where I have my experience, like, this is how things operate, but I'm aware that in your situation it's not the case, right? There are no laws. Like, they're limited to these legal obligations about what to do when you have a child in front of you who's in crisis, right? This teen in front of you. And they wanting to know, well, what do you do in that moment? And I really had to take it back to the basic of, like, you need to be aware, one, of yourself. First and foremost, of yourself, right? Look at your senses, feeling, you know, emotionally. What do you see within yourself when you hear this word suicide? And when you think about the possibility of one of your students having those thoughts or having attempted suicide, right? And so bringing it back and having this discussion with them about this element of control, right? We have control of oneself, one's home, one's community or school, one's community, right? Social work perspective. And then ultimately it goes up to the world, right? And letting them know that there's only going to be as much as anyone can ever prepare for things, for natural disasters, for crises. At the end of the day, you have to give yourself grace in that process of acknowledging that you did the best that you could in that moment. That was a theme this morning too with my other client. And giving yourself that acknowledgement, right? That you did the best you could with the tools that you had in that moment. Because you don't know how it's going to unfold. And then you have instructors and teachers who end up with this guilt of, like, what could I have done? So I'm stressing the importance of them being aware of themselves, their own triggers, right? Before they even go into this situation, right? Just by having this discussion alone, what is triggered within them of this discussion, right? And it was too large of a group to really have a dialogue, but I was really encouraging them that's the first thing you have to be aware of is yourself, right? And then once you're aware of those things, then you can kind of take it to the next step and saying, okay, can you handle this situation? You have this news, right? This child has come to you and is letting you know that they have suicidal thoughts, or you hear it from another student that their friend shared with them that they're wanting to commit suicide. So then, you know, what do you do, right? So you have to ask yourself as a professional in that point of time, well, do I feel equipped? Do I feel equipped to handle this? And being hopefully aware that you can ask for help, right? So So I'm stressing that, the importance of looking at yourself first in order to know what to do next. It came up with a few clients of mine, this element of control, right? One particular client is very much, social activist at heart. Like, you can tell there's this pull within her to create social change, and being frustrated, like many of us, right? There's many people who are frustrated with the systems in place, with the people who, are in these positions of power, if you will, or of influence, rather. They're in these positions of influence, and that to a certain degree they're detached, right, from what's really going on in the day-to-day world, right? And then there's, public agenda, their own agendas, and financial interests that come into play, right? All these factors. So I was explaining to my client, I said, because, I just said to her, well, let's look at it from this way, right? If we are in agreement that we give off a certain vibe, a certain energy, right? And you're able to pick, and actually it was with a few other clients as well, the same concept, that this repeated thing that I was sharing this week. If you're with a group of people of similar interests, people you click with, right? You have similar activities that you engage in, like hiking or, bike riding, or, whatever it may be. You're going to click with certain people, right? And you're like, yeah, because it just feels right? There's this element of energetic output that you guys are all contributing to the same interest, whatever that may be. So if that exists, then the complete opposite has to exist as well, right? That you're going to still have this group of individuals who are still connected, but connected in a different way. Connected where there's more of a pull versus an attraction, or a push away versus an attraction, right? And so, and the push away is still revolving a similar thing. It's a similar, only now we're calling it, instead of an interest, now it's a trigger, right? It's a similar trigger. Like, there's something that's some type of energy output that is causing this separation, if you will. So in one end, attraction. The other one, we're pulsing, or whatever is the opposite of attraction. Pushing away. And so then, I was explaining to my clients, all of them really, that to a certain degree then, right, if we understand that those two possibilities exist, right, and then of course there's always people in the middle, but if those two possibilities exist, and that's just with you and another person. So here it's me with another person engaging in an activity of similar, where we're putting the similar energy output, right? Because we have a similar interest. And then here it's with another person, but we're being pushed away because something's being triggered, right? Whether it's that person reminds me of someone from my past, or reminds me of me, right? Or parts of me that I don't want to acknowledge. Then, and that's just two people. Imagine, if we go to one extreme, that we had more people of that same goal, right? Let's say we have that same interest of hiking. And so now it's not instead of 2, it's now 4, right? And we're all contributing the same energy output over this interest of hiking. And then now it grows from 4 to 10 to 20 to 50 to 100 to 1,000, right? And everyone's still focused on that same energetic output. Then it's going to create a ripple effect, right? You're in essence going to create this world of hiking, right? And that's how organizations are built. When you have the same mission, the same themes, right? And then everyone's striving for the same thing. And then that's why, like, you stress that same mission statement over and over and over again. If you ever worked for a large organization like I have, it was constantly stressed over and over and over again, the mission statement. What are we there for? And these large trainings were to help remind us of why we're doing what we're doing, the why. And so then you can potentially imagine a world, right, where everyone's working for the same cause. So now, if that has the potential to occur on that end, then the same goes for the other side, right? Where you have, instead of 2 people that are being pushed, going against each other, now you have 4 people that are being pushed away from each other, and then 10 people, and then 20 people, and then 40, and then 100, and then 1,000, right? Until everybody's pulled away from each other, which is what we're experiencing now, right? in a macro level, if you will, social worky terms, right? In the society and world level, right? We're having all of these push away effects. So my client asked me a great question. She's like, I can see that. And she's like, so then what do I do? What would I have to do? And then I said, well, you have to remember, what do you have control over? Me? There you go. If you take responsibility for you and only you, right, to work through whatever is creating an imbalance within you, right? And if everybody else were to work on the same thing, work on the imbalance within themselves, it's a ripple effect, right? So now we're adding one more person into this particular category, right? Of healing. And then we add another person to this category. And this bubble will grow, and this bubble will grow. That was the theme of this week's session. Of this week's sessions. It was the element of self-control, right? And changing within yourself in order to create that ripple effect of change, right? Because if you neglect yourself, then by default you are contributing that sense of neglect in however way it looks like it manifests with someone else, and then it just kind of extends after that. That was all. I just wanted to make sure I talked about that because it felt important. We'll see. All right, bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.